Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, checking in with an update from the native plantings here at the Carolina Garden House. Now, these large native shrub borders have been planted for just over a month, and I really cannot believe how much everything is growing. All the seedlings are germinating. The daffodil bulbs are all starting to push up, and well, it's definitely time for a proper tour for all of you so that you can see how much has changed in just a month's time. I also have big news about all of the plants that I'm going to be offering at the native plant sale during the spring open garden, which is Saturday, May 13th from noon to 4 p.m. So last week I went up to Carolina Native Nursery and I ordered a bunch of plants. I've got my invoice here. So I will be posting all of this on my website, but I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek behind what I'm going to have to offer as far as shrubs go. I'm going to have landscape plugs of perennials and grasses available as well. So I've got 3 varieties of evergreen native rhododendrons, so like traditional rhododendrons. So in addition to the evergreen rhododendrons, which are native, I have got Rhododendron Atlanticum, Viscosum, Paraclimenoides, Ostrinum, and Canescens, all in 1 gallon size that will be available for sale. I've also got Leucothoe, Aronia, Fothergilla, 3 varieties of oak leaf hydrangea, Hypericum sunburst, Rosa caroliniana, Spirea latifolia, and Spirea tomentosa, Vaccinium macrocarpum. That is the cranberry. I've also got Viburnum nudum and Viburnum dentatum. So I'm super excited about getting all of those plants here. And again, I will be adding all of this to my website, but I wanted to give you kind of a sneak peek at what is going to be coming up for that spring open garden on Saturday, May 13th from noon to 4 p.m. All right, let me turn this camera around so I can give you an up close and personal tour of everything that's going on here in the big native shrub borders at the Carolina Garden House. Well, obviously the cats love it, and specifically they love the grains that we seeded, and Ava Grace just spends a lot of her time nibbling on wheat and barley, rye, and oats. Now up here you can see a lot of bulbs starting to poke through. And those are all daffodils from Brent and Becky's bulbs. And then a nice ground cover of poppies is germinating. Now, yes, I recognize that none of these things are actually native. But remember, I've given myself permission to grow some of the plants that I just love and adore. And these are all very short season, so I think that it's allowed. Now you can see a lot of other things are also germinating. Obviously these are bachelor buttons. This is cilantro right here. Some of them that don't have true leaves yet, I can't totally identify, but I'm really quite thrilled to see such great germination despite the cat's best efforts at digging everything up. They've definitely been destructive, to say the least. But I do love my cats, so I can't help it. Now you can see what we did was we actually sowed the cottage garden mix that I had been selling. So that included grains and crimson clover and bachelor buttons and cilantro. So it's going to be a cool thing to see grow right along these edges, which is where we concentrated it in. Of course, you can see more bulbs coming up here. And overall, it's just really encouraging to see. Now in this bed, we didn't sow any seeds. Well, that's not true. We did sow some poppy seeds, and then we mulched over it. And you know what's amazing is that the poppies are actually germinating up through. We didn't do a heavy layer of mulch, so you can see some poppies coming up through there. And then all of the grasses that we've planted are looking really good. These are all Carex. I think these are all Cherokeensis. Sisyrinchiums, which we got from Carolina Native. You can see lots of buds are starting to swell on native azaleas. I'm just so pleased with how everything is looking. Really encouraged that this is going to be a very successful planting. We have, of course, done no additional watering because we have been getting ample rain. You know, I thought perhaps we would have to water in this bed since we haven't mulched it. And I'm thinking now that so many of the seedlings have already germinated, we actually could do a layer of mulch in this bed kind of to cover up the native sand. Although I guess that would make Ava Grace kind of sad because she loves to roll around in here. But again, overall, I'm really pleased. You can see a really heavy germination rate of poppies. So with any luck, these will be blooming for the spring open garden so that visitors can really enjoy this to the max. Now over here in the pollinator perennial pocket, which was planted in August, everything's looking good. I think it's about time for me to come through and do some cutbacks because everything is starting to kind of flush out and come back to life. Again, you can see good germination rate on poppies, including the Reese poppies and the California poppies, which are these right here. I did plant some alliums throughout this bed. And again, I'm really pleased to see, you know, when I put this in, I was a little like, there's a lot of open mulch space. I don't really want to have to weed. But right now, as I'm looking at it, there's very few weeds to deal with. I've got some chickweed here and some of that native Veronica that is kind of an obnoxious plant. All of this is relatively simple to pull out. And, you know, I'm definitely encouraged in seeing all those violas that I direct seeded back in September flowering now. And, well, overall, I just think that it's all growing really great. No fertilizer, no additional, no supplemental irrigation at all. And, you know, we are only on the 21st of February today. And so everything's a little bit ahead of normal schedule, but these native plants, I think, can take it totally in stride. So I've got exciting news. I've got 10 yards of that pine bark mulch getting delivered today. My awesome neighbor, Nick. And it's going to go right in here on the grass because, well, this is eventually going to be one giant bed anyway, and that's just an easy place to stash it. I'm probably going to be on a Zoom when it gets delivered, but I'm really excited to be able to have that basically as like my on-hand mulch. It really is like the best of the best. So super grateful to have a neighbor that can help hook me up like that. Now this foundation bed I don't generally talk much about because I haven't really done anything. Aiden and Abby and I planted this, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And we put in some native phlox. This is Bright Eyes. Just need to come through and cut down the stalks. And you could see poppies that have self-sown, actually like in the undisturbed soil on the edge. And the strawberries here have done really, really well. I don't want to remove them at all because they actually produce a lot of fruit. And I'd love for the strawberries just to be a solid ground cover through the entire bed. Obviously have some henbit to go ahead and pull out. I did get some garlic planted along this edge, and the muley grass that I got from Carolina Native is looking good. You can see it's got green foliage at the base. It's starting to grow out. I do have some weeding to do in here, but overall I'm pretty pleased, and I think the logical thing is just going to be to transplant some of the strawberries from over there and just fill out the ground plane entirely. And then this will really be officially a native foodscape where we have native perennials and a delicious edible growing all together. So we've got big plans for bed expansion. In fact, yesterday David and Aiden used the sod cutter to get some new beds created, but the ground is just too wet to roll the sod. So we've got to wait a little while to let that dry out so that we can do it efficiently. You can see we're going to expand this bed, and then we've actually started on some large beds out back. So I can't wait to continue sharing updates with all of you. Please be sure to subscribe so that you stay in the loop as we continue to make progress. Well, as always, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Happy gardening.